Good and decent people of YouTube, welcome to Political Drain, where we sift through the sewage at the end of a long pipeline of corporate media in order to expose the liars and the charlatans hell-bent on manipulating you for power and for profit. My name is Bruce Lively, and no, you're not crazy. Dr. Cornel West has announced his candidacy for president in 2024. He's running under the Green Party, and there are a lot of reasons why it's problematic. There's also a lot of reasons why it's probably good. I mean, he's been an advocate for the poor people, for black people, for all of the underserved for years and years and years. On the other hand, the issues are pretty far spread. The issues I have may not be the ones that you have, but I think they're pertinent. You see, almost immediately, you know the attacks were coming, because they always come. But for him, it turns out, he owes over $500,000 in taxes and child support. Wow. So look, thank you, Dr. Cornel West, for the work that you've done before. No one will ever say that you aren't a good communicator for the poor, for the underserved. I don't care. Not one bit. For 8 years, Dr. Cornel West went on a America-wide tour tearing down Barack Obama every single chance he got, every single speaking opportunity that came to him. He found a way to put that in there.
Not just 21% of our children living in poverty of all colors, each one precious. 42% of America's children live in poverty or near poverty. That is sick. It's a moral obscenity. It's a national disgrace. And yet, we have a political class, no matter what color they are.
Barack Obama has a choice between the greatness of a Lincoln and the masterful Machiavellian sensibilities of a Bill Clinton, who is brilliant, charismatic, masterful, but tended to be too opportunistic. So far, Barack Obama has leaned more toward the Clinton side.
You suck!
Cornel West strongly endorsed then Senator Barack Obama.
I think he's got the vision, he's got the newness, he's got the freshness.
Fast forward to this week, West is now strongly criticizing President Obama, calling him, quote, a black puppet and black mascot of Wall Street.
All because, in my opinion, he wasn't invited to the White House.
West's comments are outright inflammatory, but he admits he has a personal issue with Mr. Obama. He says he campaigned for Mr. Obama but never got a thanks and couldn't get tickets to the inauguration.
He was snubbed by Barack Obama. It was at this point that I realized that all of his intentions and all of his claims of decency were probably not as they seem. You see, I'm not going to dismiss somebody because they make mistakes, but I am going to say that his desire to be one of the club, or his desire to be noticed by the first black president, overtook his desire for the people he said he was supposed to be serving. Now, I'm not saying this because it's impossible to talk about Barack Obama. I think Barack Obama was a neoliberal president. He did what was expected. I also think he did some good things, did some bad things, what was expected. He's not on a pedestal, but for the mere fact for 8 years, this man could only find things wrong with him to say simply because he was snubbed, in my opinion. But we have an ex-president right now with 91 felonies charged, and the people who support him say they'll vote for him even if he's in prison. You see, it shows a difference of what support really means. You might have heard this from some other people, some other commenters, or some other YouTubers. And you may be saying to yourself that those people are just mad because anybody who criticizes Barack Obama isn't going to be in the club anymore. And that's not true. Believe it or not, I agree with much of his criticism. But here are also the receipts. It's funny how Cornel West finds it so passionate to talk about economic equality. Like here.
Are you concerned about the massive unemployment and underemployment that are not reflected in the statistics because they don't count those folk who are not looking for work or part-time workers and the working people whose wages have stagnated?
I find it incredibly disheartening that during his American tour of Obama bashing, he had nothing to say about this initiative for fair pay and a safe workplace, for establishing a minimum wage for contract workers. Cornel West had this to say.
It seems to have a very low priority. It seems to be an afterthought. That's what I mean when I say one becomes a puppet for corporate plutocrats and a mascot for Wall Street oligarchs.
You see, Dr. Cornel West also was very passionate about the prison system. He used to teach and I think he probably still did up until his candidacy, teach in the prison system. With that amount of passion for prison reform, for the understanding of poor people under a privatized prison system, you would have thought he would have more to say when Barack Obama executed this executive order to stop the DOJ from using private prisons when sending people to jail. That's a good one. Instead, Cornel West had this to say about that. As a matter of fact, for someone who has spent their life fighting for social justice and change in the community, I find it surprising that Dr. Cornel West couldn't find one thing to say, and I'm going to read them here, that Barack Obama put in place, like establishing a community solutions council, advancing the goals of power in Africa, an initiative to expand access to electricity in sub-Saharan Africa, the implementation of the National HIV and AIDS Strategy for the United States, which hadn't been done before, believe it or not, preventing and responding to violence against women and girls globally, improving access to mental health services for veterans, service members, and military families. I mean, you would think as an educator, when Barack Obama put forth an initiative on the educational excellence for African Americans, he would have said something. And the list goes on and on. All I'm saying is, on an American tour, the fact that you couldn't find any of these things to say and only the bad stuff is concerning and it's telling. And the main reason why is because now, like then, you find a way for the second time to be used to further the stereotype of black people, the crab in a barrel. You found a way to pull down black people who were on top. You found a way, yet again, to be used by the people who are against you, against the people who you're supposed to be for. You see, if you notice, they didn't hit him with some other political scandal. They hit him with the exact same stereotypes that he's been trying to fight against for so long. The type of Negro that don't want to do his part, pay taxes, just want a free ride. And you're not going to take care of your children, huh? Ain't got no car because it's sitting on the front yard on cinder blocks. And there goes the neighborhood. Congratulations on your second time bringing us down. And those are the receipts. I'll see you next time.